Hi again. We're going to be talking about relationship maintenance and what can influence how likely you are to stay in a relationship once you have one. And we're going to be doing that by talking about the song Settle For Me, which is a song sung by Greg, who is one of Rebecca's love interests, but also the best friend of Rebecca's main love interest, Josh. And in this song, he is asking Rebecca to go on a date with him instead of with Josh, and we are going to see what happens now.
When we're together, I feel so grand. My heart goes tippity tap 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 when I hold your hand. But I know there's another guy you fancy more. So even though I'm not the one you adore, why not settle for me? Darling, just settle for me. I think you'll have to agree, we make quite a pair. I know I'm only second place in this game, but like 2% milk or seitan beef, I almost taste the same. So won't you settle for me? Come on and settle for me. Say yes or no before I choke on all this swallowed pride. I have no problem being picked out from the bottom. If he's your broken condom, I'm plan B. So lower those expectations and settle for me. Am I okay with this? Totally.
Oh, sweet account.
Settle for me. Baby cakes, just settle for me. Schmoopy pie, I'm begging you please. Can't you see the light? Sugar jugs, I'm so bereft. Demeaning terms are all that I have left of my masculinity. So settle for me.
So twirly.
Little girl, don't make me feel like a little girl, exposed and raw, whose boobs can't even fill a training bra. Let's pretend I didn't say that. Settle for me.
It's a practical proposal.
Settle for me.
It makes a certain sense.
He's a fantasy, but hey, let's think this through. Yes, Josh is a dream, but I'm right here in flesh and blood and self-hate. Settle for me in a sad way, darling, it's fate. So launch to Beyonce, not asking to be your fiancé. But if tonight or tomorrow, if you happen to be free, maybe, just maybe, settle for me.
So what'll it be? Can you hurry up and decide? A dip's kind of supposed to be a quick thing.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit because there's a lot going on here. First, we're going to talk about idealization of your partner. Your idealization of your partner is essentially the perfect image of a perfect person that you could ever possibly date. The best thing that could ever happen to you if you got to date that person. And for Greg, that perfect person right now seems like Rebecca. He thinks that his heart flutters when he sees her and that they would have a great relationship, despite the fact that Rebecca does not have him as her first choice. So this can be kind of problematic because if your idealized version of your partner doesn't actually match who they are, that can lead to a lot of disappointment and something of a bubble burst later on down the road. As for Rebecca, she is idealizing Josh, who is Greg's best friend. And we know that because later on in the song, Greg says that Josh is a dream, but that he is right there for Rebecca. And this is really just to highlight the fact that Rebecca has been chasing Josh since she was 16 and they dated at summer camp. And she thinks that Josh is a perfect person and perfect for her, but Greg doesn't think that that might actually be true. So next, we're going to talk about settling. What happens when your idealized version of your partner doesn't actually match what you're getting? This is what is settling. So Greg is asking Rebecca to settle for him because he knows that he's not Josh, and he knows that he doesn't match Rebecca's idealized version of whatever her perfect partner would be, but he wants to be with her anyway. And so he's asking her to literally lower her expectations and, well, settle for him. This isn't always healthy in a relationship, though. We have idealized standards for a partner because that's what we want to look for. No partner is ever going to be completely perfect, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have high standards. So for Greg, he should probably look for women that are interested in him because they like him, not because they can't have his best friend. In terms of outcomes of a relationship, those are the things that you get out that are good about your relationship. So for Greg, going out on dates with Rebecca would be good, but the rest of the outcomes are not as great. Immediately following this song, Rebecca and Greg do go out on a date, but Rebecca then takes someone else home and sleeps with him instead of with Greg. So that is not a great outcome or dynamic for a relationship. And Greg kind of expects this kind of behavior. He says that he looks for women who aren't interested in him because that's his type. And this indicates that he has a very low comparison level. And a comparison level is your basic expectation of what you want to be treated like in a relationship. So for Greg, having a low comparison level means that he will take just about anybody, especially Rebecca, because she is pretty and pays attention to him sometimes, because that's what he expects. He doesn't expect a whole lot else. But there's also the comparison level for the alternative, and that's what you think you could get if you were not with the person that you are currently with. And for Greg, again, this level is really pretty low. He's asking Rebecca to settle for him because he doesn't think that he could do much better. He thinks that she is the one for him, that she makes his heart flutter, and he doesn't know why, but he really, really likes her, and so he wants Rebecca. But for Rebecca, she knows that she could get somebody else better, or at least she thinks so, and that's really what's important, is the perception of your comparison level for the alternative. Rebecca thinks that she could get Josh someday if she doesn't date Greg, and that means that she is much less committed to making this relationship work because she doesn't need it as much. Greg, on the other hand, is pretty dependent on this relationship because his comparison level for the alternative is so dang low. He doesn't think that he could do better, so having Rebecca is pretty crucial for him, just so that he has somebody. So if you ever find yourself singing, "Settle for me, please," "Go on a date with me, please," "I know that I'm not the person that you want, but I'm a decent alternative," maybe don't pursue that person. Raise your standards a little bit so that your standards are higher and you have higher comparison levels, because everybody deserves to be treated well in a relationship, and we all deserve to have great relationships. And that won't happen if your partner doesn't treat you well, or if you think that you can't do any better and therefore tolerate bad behavior. So keep those things in mind when you are maintaining your own relationships. Next time, we are going to talk about attachment and how comfortable we are getting to know one another and be open with one another.